Hey, Luminora Surdar here, founder and main practitioner here at Autism Transformed. And hello. Welcome if you are joining live or if you're watching the replay. Today I'm talking about constipation. Constipation is huge in that so many children have it today, and actually a lot of adults have constipation as well. And I want to say, what is constipation? Because I know parents who have taken their kids into pediatricians and they say, it's okay if your child poops every 3 or 4 days. It's not okay. I don't know how they came to think that it's okay to poop every few days. But if you think about, we are eating 3 or more times a day, most of us, and our kids certainly, especially if they're snacking. And where is all of that going, right? It doesn't all get absorbed into the body. We definitely have to eliminate. We have to eliminate every day. And ideally, we would be eliminating after every meal, right? In the morning when we wake up and after we eat, because that food coming in should be the signal to the body, oh, I have to get rid of the old stuff that's in here. Now, that works well if we're eating whole foods and fruits and vegetables and lots of fiber, right? But today our diet is so full of chemicals and processed food that don't have enough fiber. So constipation is just so prevalent and so common. And I know one of the biggest go-tos that parents use is Miralax. The doctors tell them, use Miralax to help your child poop. Well, there's issues with that too. And so we'll talk about that. But let's just start with pooping should be every day, 1 to 4 times a day. If not, that's constipation. Now, there's other signs that there's constipation. So let's say your child has, some days where they don't poop, but then they have other days that they have diarrhea. The fecal matter can get so compacted and fill up the colon that there's only a little space to move through. So that's where that liquidy diarrhea could come out. Now, I'm not saying all diarrhea is because the colon is impacted with fecal matter, not at all. But that is also a sign of constipation, potentially, especially if your child strains, is afraid to go because it might hurt because it's a big amount coming out. I've heard that. And some kids go in the corner and poop in a diaper. And there's privacy issues, there's psychological issues around this, right? It's not only the physical body, but there are a lot of things in the physical body that we can actually help to help our kids poop every day. And some of these I've used because I tend towards that end of things. So, as I said, constipation, let me just define a couple other things that could be constipation. So even if your child is pooping every day, but it looks like a really lumpy sausage with kind of dry balls or lumps in the poop, that can still be constipation. And if your child has little pellet poops, like, little deer pellets or rabbit pellets, that's also constipation, right? Anything that is not looking like a snake or a smooth log coming out could be considered constipation. Now, if your child has really runny stools and diarrhea all the time, that can indicate inflammation, irritable bowel syndrome. It can indicate certain microbes in the gut that shouldn't be there. Clostridia is one of them. So if you've ever had a gut test and found out which microbes are in there, Clostridia is one that really contributes to that, the more runny stools. And that's different than constipation. So it's still a gut issue. The other thing is we can have, and it's well known in autism, that kids do not have a very diverse gut microbiome, meaning they don't have all the different microbes that would be helpful for their health that many other more healthy people would have. So what do we do to help with constipation? And I want to say too, if you have questions about constipation, if you have questions about your child, I'll get to those at the end. So be thinking in your mind about your questions that you might have. So food, as I mentioned, is a big one. It's a big cause, and not eating enough fiber. So one of the things that can help in that regard is chia and flax seeds. which are high in omega-3 fatty acids. But if you take a tablespoon of chia seeds and add a little water, you'll see, and same with flax seeds, you'll see that it gets like goopy and gelatinous after maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And that can be a nice natural laxative. For adults too, I know I'm talking about kids, but all of this applies to, I'm talking about kids with autism, but this applies to all kids, and this applies to basically all human bodies. So anyone with constipation. Food is an issue, our microbiome is an issue, our nervous system, we can be in fight or flight a lot of the time, and most of our kiddos are, and honestly, I think my body's in fight or flight most of the time, and I'm really working hard at that. So breathing is a good one, and humming to help with the vagus nerve, like your vagus nerve is right here. It runs down the side. It's a cranial nerve, goes from your brain all the way down to your gut. It innervates and communicates with your organs in your chest and your abdomen and your pelvis. So it's sending signals from the brain down, and it's receiving signals back. And if that is stuck, or that has some behavior that isn't normal, it's stuck in some activity, some stress activity it shouldn't be, then that's also a reason why the bowels may not be moving. And there's also a little nervous system component in the bowels called the migrating motor complex, the MMC, and it helps to move the bowels efficiently. Also, what I want to say is, if you, and maybe as an adult you can relate to this, and then you can apply this to your child, whether they can tell you or not. If you feel that urge to poop, and then you're too busy and you've got this to do and that to do, and can anyone relate to that, right? Like, I have to do this, and oh, my child needs me for that, or whatever, and you miss that opportunity, your brain's like, okay, not time, or your bowels, and let's reabsorb more water, like this water system. We have a reabsorption of the water from the colon, a normal part of our body physiology. But then when we reabsorb more water, if we don't follow that signal to that urge to go to the bathroom, and we absorb more water, that stuff gets a little bit more dry in there, a little harder to pass. So don't ignore the signal. And if you see that your child has a signal, try to get them to understand not to ignore the signals. So how can we help with constipation? Well, drinking more water, especially in the summertime here, when it's really hot, we tend to be sweating more. Hopefully your kids are outside playing. I've been outside a lot more, camping and just in nature. Drink more water. 8 glasses of 8-ounce water a day is for an adult, and even for 15-year-olds and up. Younger kids don't need as much, but they still do need water. And what I recommend is water, not juice, not Gatorade, not energy drinks, just water. And you can add some electrolytes to that, like some trace minerals. You can just go to the health food store and get trace minerals. I think that's actually the name of the company. I think it's Trace Minerals. And just use some electrolytes, and that will actually help the water. One, it'll help remineralize, because when we're sweating, we're letting go of minerals. And two, it will help, just with the balance of all the processes in the body, because we often are deficient in minerals because we're not getting them in our food, especially if we're eating processed food, which I don't recommend. And the minerals in our vegetables and our fruits are not as high. Our soil is just depleted. I think maybe you've heard that a lot, but we just don't get as many minerals as, say, 100, 200 years ago people got from eating fruits and vegetables from our soil. And I have a really cool story about that, actually. My nutrition teacher way back 10 or 15 years ago, when I was taking my courses, she said that she lives in Olympia, Washington, which is kind of in the area of Mount St. Helens. And in 1982, Mount St. Helens the volcano blew up, and all this ash settled everywhere. And she said that summer in her garden, she would pick a potato, and it was big enough to feed her whole family of 5, one potato. So I can only imagine back, a few hundred years ago, how much mineralization our soils had, and that volcano provided whatever was in the ash. It provided a lot of minerals for her garden, for things to grow better. So, all right, that's my little story about minerals. What supplements can we take to help? I don't recommend Miralax because it can have neuropsychotropic effects, meaning it can affect the brain, right? It can make us feel a little crazy. And it's an off-label medication. It's not even made for constipation for kids. So it's been very common. In the UK, it's called Movicol. And I actually had a client who would give her son 3 or 4 packets, I guess it comes in packets in the UK, of Movicol, and he still wouldn't poop. So, we just got her on the right supplements, and he was able to poop every day. He did need a little bit of Movicol once in a while, but basically, we got him pooping with just natural herbs. So herbs are another thing you can use to help with pooping. But the first thing I would suggest is really up the water intake. And it's okay if your child pees more often or if you pee more often. It's okay. Movement is really helpful for going to the bathroom. There's certain yoga poses. There's one actually called wind removing pose, where you're lying on your back and you bring your knee up to your belly. I don't think you can see me here. There, bring your knee up, and it actually pushes on the sides of your intestines and removes the wind from the body, but it can also help by stimulating the colon there. Squats or the wind removing pose. You can even look that up online. And it just helps move things through. So we want those muscles of the colon. They're smooth muscles that that do peristalsis, which means they squeeze sequentially. They'll squeeze, 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 right? So it can move things through. And we want to support those muscles. So magnesium might be able to support those muscles. And a great one for pooping is magnesium hydroxide. That really helps with pooping. Magnesium citrate really helps with pooping as well. And aloe vera, whole leaf aloe vera really helps with pooping. And to have good fats. I knew someone, an older adult, who was having some constipation issues, and he started taking one of Udo's oils. I think it was 369. Anyway, it's a supplement that's oils, really good oils for the body, and that really helped move things through for that person. So making sure your child's getting good fats, good oils, adding in magnesium, adding in more water, some movement, some colon massage. And there's herbs, senna and cascara sagrada are a couple of the main ones, but you can also become dependent on those. So you want to have things that you are not going to become dependent on the bowels to move. Probiotics can really help, but before you jump into a particular probiotic, you probably want to do a gut test. I mean, you can test 10 different probiotics on the market. That's fine. I'm not saying don't do that, but you're going to spend a lot of money and go through a lot of trial and error for what's the right one for your child. And you can go through 10 and need a drink of water here. You can go through 10 different types of probiotics and then not find the one that works. So if you're already working with a practitioner, someone who knows something about autism, someone who knows something about gut health, not your regular pediatrician, they're probably not going to do the proper gut tests. You do a stool sample and you can get lots of information from a gut test. You can get the information of what are the good bacteria in there, what are the bad bacteria in there, and then a protocol for how to combat that and how to shift that and what's the right probiotic, what's missing from your child's gut. The test that I do is it tests for that. It tests for what's present, what's not present, and then it gives recommendations of which probiotics you can add to help with the dysbiosis and to help with digestion and to help with many things. So probiotics are great, and knowing the right one is the way to go. So before you waste a lot of money and time. Castor oil can be a really great thing, rubbed on the belly or taken internally. You know, I mentioned my friend with who took oils, and that helped slide things right through his colon. So the other thing is really to avoid fast foods and processed foods and sugar. Sugar just does a number on the gut, on the whole body, but it feeds the bad microbes. And so it's not recommended. And I know it's really hard to get our kids to not eat sugar. Monk fruit is a great substitute if you make something homemade. But if you have a little one, don't even start them on sugar. I remember when my son was 3, so I never gave him candy. I never gave him anything. But when he was 3, he went to a birthday party right around Halloween, and he got a little goodie bag with candy. And he was like, oh my God, this stuff is amazing. It's the first time he had it. And on Halloween, I remember him on the sidewalk with his trick-or-treat bag going, I love candy. It's very cute, but it's so addictive. Sugar is so addictive, and it tastes so good, and of course we all want to have it. Not great for our bodies. So avoiding sugar is great. Calming the nervous system is another good one. I mentioned earlier the vagus nerve humming, gargling. Maybe our little kiddos can't gargle, but they can probably hum. Breathing. I like the 4-6 count breathing. I talk about it all the time. It's 4 counts on the in breath, 6 counts on the out breath. And it's okay if you can't do 4 counts. If you can do 2 or 3, doesn't matter. You just want the out breath to be 2 counts longer than the in breath. And that gets our parasympathetic nervous system into dominance, which means our rest and digest part of our nervous system. So it helps to calm. And some kiddos love squeezes, right? That can be really calming for them. Our sensory kids, they love squeezes. Putting your child's heart on your heart, like in a hug. When you hug on the left side, or hold your child here, just like you did when your kiddo was a baby, right? You would hold your baby right here. And those were sweet moments. But if you're relaxed, your child will come in coherence with your heartbeat. So as a mama, as a parent, it's important that you regulate yourself and you let go of the anxiety and you come in rest and digest mode. And so your child can co-regulate with you in that way. And if you have problems calming down or, getting out of stress mode, there's a lot of techniques. Meditation is the big one, breathing, but there are techniques like limbic retraining and the Gupta method. These DNRS, these are ways to get your parasympathetic nervous system into more dominance if you haven't found something else that works for you. And I just want to say, prioritize sleep. Sleep is super important, and I know a lot of kids, a lot of parents I've talked to, their kids wake up in the middle of the night, wake up at 1, they're up till 5, they're up for a few hours in the night, or they get up and come in mom and dad's bed, but they fall back asleep. That's great. So sleep is super important, and I know other kiddos who sleep great. So you really want to try and optimize for the best possible sleep. No screens an hour before bed, no big blue lights an hour before bed, try and dim the lights in the house. I know some parents who have their kids wear those orange glasses around at night to try and calm down, have your bedtime routine. So sleep is super important because that's when our body heals and our toxins are actually, our liver's working overtime to put toxins into the gut. And so it's just an important time, and it balances the whole body overall. So important for our health. That's something I've been working on for myself. I had 3 stressful years, and this year I've been working on my sleep. It's gotten so much better. I can actually sleep through the night. I can sleep up to 8 hours, which I was sleeping 4 to 5 a night. Not good. It really ruins your adrenals. So I'm shoring up my energy and getting back into my good sleep mode, and it's making a world of difference. It gives me more energy during the day, and I just feel better. I feel it. So if there's any questions, I think I saw a question earlier. I want to know, what is the best way to treat platelets? I don't know. I'm not talking about that, and I'm not a doctor. Sorry about that. Irvelo 4. That's not what this is about. And so, yeah, this isn't medical advice. This is what to do about constipation. So maybe you need to find another practitioner to help you out there. So sorry about that. If there's any questions about constipation and about how to help that is what I can help you with today. So, all right, seems like not. I gave you a bunch of tips and strategies and techniques, explained what constipation is, why you shouldn't use Miralax, and what you can do to help your kiddo poop every day, 1 to 4 times a day. As I mentioned, gut test is important. Probiotics are important, but you need to know which are the right ones. Drinking more water, that's huge in this summer heat. At least it's hot where I am. And movement, so important. So I hope you enjoy that. Reach out and let me know how I can help in other ways. I help kids to shift the autism behaviors by getting at the root causes, what's going on in the body actually. So we look at digestion, heal the gut, heal the brain inflammation, and lo and behold, we have more eye contact and lots of behavior shift, more integration with the family, more words coming out, less anxiety, just more calmness. So this is what we do day in, day out. Let us know how we can help, and have a great day. Take care.